We're gonna try this one more time. Okay, everybody, we've been having some trouble. Let me know if you can see this okay. Let's go. Okay, I think we've got it, guys. Whew, that was scary there for a minute. Everybody says you can you hear and you can see? Wonderful, so glad you're watching. Let's see if we can get started. Wouldn't you like to be out on one of those sailboats? I sure would. Everybody says they can see just fine. Let's bring the pastor on.
How's that, Sister Aldridge? Are we there?
No, you're a little tall.
A little tall? Okay, I'll give you just a moment here. Get us situated here. All right, looks like it's a go. We got a thumbs up on this. I just want to take a moment and say thank you to each every one of you for joining us tonight. We are so delighted to have you with us on our midweek service right here in Cleveland, Ohio. And so I am standing on the banks of Lake Erie, one of our great lakes here in the continental United States. And I wish you all could be here. It absolutely feels like fall tonight. The low here in Cleveland is going to be down in the 50s. That's right, in the 50s. And I told somebody here today, I said it won't be long until the foliage starts changing. And I told you guys Sunday morning, I think we absolutely skipped August and went straight into September of October. But hey, thank you so much for taking time out, being with us on this Wednesday night, all right? I just want to share something with you because it is such a beautiful evening. And here on Lake Erie, right here behind me, downtown Cleveland over here on this side. Cleveland is a home to a lot of things. The Brown Stadium is just in this direction here, downtown, over on the shoreline as well. For all of those that are out there that are Browns fans, we strongly believe this would have been the year had it not been for the pandemic. So now we're going to get pushed out and have to wait for another year for the Browns to win the Super Bowl. But also right here behind me, you will see is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum that is also right here behind downtown Cleveland. But I didn't come to talk to you tonight about the Browns, and I didn't come talk to you tonight about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum. I want to come and share with you just a little bit about Lake Erie. The thing that always mystifies me about this lake is, like many of the other Great Lakes, is that when you actually get out there on this lake, you can't tell you're not actually on the ocean, all right? It is so large, it's hard to comprehend how large a body of water that truly is until you had an opportunity to get on it. Now, Lake Erie has a sister lake as well, Lake Superior, that is several hundred miles from here. And Lake Superior is a great lake also. And the only reason why I mention that lake tonight is because we had one of our largest freighters on Lake Superior back in 1975. In the month of November, she was coming across the lake, coming back in, when suddenly a storm came up in the middle of nowhere. Not just a regular storm, but a monstrous storm. Waves come crashing over the bow. Matter of fact, those of you that know your history, the Edmund Fitzgerald sank on that fateful day of November the 10th, 1975. All 29 of its crew perished in the cold waters of Lake Superior. It came up out of the middle of nowhere. There wasn't anything calling for it. Matter of fact, one of the artists recorded a song about the ballad of the Edmund Fitzgerald. But anyhow, that brings us to Lake Erie tonight. You know, I've never been on Lake Galilee. I've been on Lake Erie before. I've been on the Mediterranean, but I've never had a chance to sail Lake Galilee or the Galilean Sea. But you know, the thing about it is that how quickly things change in our life. I was reading today in Matthew chapter 14, where Jesus' disciples was going across the lake to get to the other side, or across the sea of Galilee, from point A to point B. When the word says that suddenly a storm came up in their midst. And it wasn't just a storm, but the word says that it had boisterous waves, boisterous wind. It was much like the storm, like the Edmund Fitzgerald faced on Lake Superior. But in the midst of this storm, the disciples were in the boat, waiting for Jesus to catch up. They left him over on the shore. When suddenly Peter looks up in the midst of it all, and he sees Jesus walking on the water. Now you know where I'm going with this right now. Because whenever the Lord spoke to him and said, be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. It was Peter that looked and spoke up and said, Lord, if that really be you, then bid me to come to you. And all Jesus said was simply, come. Now there's 2 points here I want to leave with you, all right? We've all heard this preached on so many times. In order for Peter to get from the boat, which is in the midst of a turbulent storm at this time, and to get from point A to Jesus being point B, he had to first let go of the rail. Now, if you've ever been on a ship of any size, okay, you know that they've all got a rail. And that rail says is a purpose for something to hold on to keep you from going over on the other side. Well, as Peter stood there looking at the Lord walking on the water, the first thing he had to do was release the hold on the rail to go to Jesus. You know, how many times do we feel the Lord speaking to our hearts? No matter what the situation may be that we're facing. Maybe it's in a relationship. Maybe it's in financial difficulties. Maybe it's a health-related issue. But there's times that the Lord speaks to us and draws us closer unto Him. But in order for us to get there, we've got to first learn the value of letting go. Letting go of that comfort zone. Letting go of that thing that brings me the stability in life in the midst of all the storms that are going on around me. You know, when I speak of letting go, I'm often reminded of a little story down in South America about a village that had a monkey that kept running into the village every night when all the villagers were going to bed. And the monkey would come in, he would pillage, going through their stuff, getting anything shiny. It could be a gold coin, a piece of silver, maybe a brazen pot or something. But that little monkey would grab that and he would leave the little village with that treasure in hand. One day, all the elders of the village got together and they said, we gotta figure out a way to put a stop to this little monkey coming in here and stealing our stuff at night while we're asleep. One wise elder spoke up and he says, I know a way to catch that little monkey. And they said, you do? They said, well, share that with us. And that wise elder said, I'll do better than that. I will show you how to catch the little monkey. So what they did, they went outside the village along the trail, found the pathway that the little monkey would always use coming into the village to collect his treasures. And there happened to be a log, and they went across the creek bed that the little monkey would always cross. Well, what that wise elder would do, he took something and he bored a hole in that log. And when he bored that hole in that log, he took some nails and he drove down into a funnel-like position. And after he got those nails in this funnel-like position, in this hole bored in this log, he dropped in a shiny silver coin. And all the villagers, they were amazed at this. As a matter of fact, they were even laughing at the elder going to so much trouble, thinking that he was going to catch this little monkey as he crossed the log with a shiny coin in that bowl. But the elder, he just smiled. He said, let's go on back to the village and a good night's rest. Well, that night, he went back to the village, went to sleep, got up the next morning, nothing was missing. The elder said, come and go with me. So when they walked back out on the trail that the little monkey would take coming into the village, they noticed when they got close to that log, there he was. The little monkey that had been coming in the village, stealing all their shiny stuff while they were busy sleeping during the night. And the old elder walked over there and put a bag across the little monkey to take him and release him somewhere else in the jungle, far away from the village. Do you know the moral of that? When they came and asked that elder, said, how did you know that this would catch the monkey? Because the elder said, a monkey is a lot like some of us. Once he grasps and holds something, he won't ever let it go. See, when the monkey was crossing the log, he saw the shiny coin, put his little hand down in the hole that was bored there, and when he went to pull it up with the fist, he couldn't get it out from around those nails that were in a funnel-like position. All that little monkey had to do was drop the coin, pull his little hand up out of there, and he would have been free to go. But doesn't that sound like some of us? God says, hey, freely come, I will freely give. But there's some of us that we're like a Peter. We hold on to the rail. We don't want to step out, lose ourselves in that faith, and see what God has in store for you and I. If we could just learn not to be afraid and to simply let go. You got to just put it in the hands of God. If you really want God to really move in your life, you got to put those things that you're treasuring so much in God's hands. You got to take your hands off of them and simply let them go. Now, I leave you with this thought right here. Thought number 2, all right? You've heard me say this before, and I want to iterate it one more time tonight. I don't care about when Peter let go of the handrail and he walked out across the water to be with Jesus. I don't care about the boisterous waves, the wind blowing around, and Peter beginning to sink. That's not the focus of the story tonight. The focus of the story tonight is not about Peter sinking, but highlight number 2 is simply this. Peter is the only man outside of Jesus Christ that we have ever had a record that walked on the water. We don't know if it was a yard. We don't know if it was 500 yards. All we know is that Peter let go and he walked on the water. You want to do great things in your life for God? You got to learn to let go. There's no telling what you can accomplish with your own individual life if you will just trust Him at His word. Peace, come to me. Don't worry about the things around you. Just put it in my hands and I'll deal with it for you. We have to learn the value of letting go. Well, it's a beautiful evening. I hope and pray that it said something that will encourage you, lift you up, give you a greater determination to reach out there and get more of God than you've ever gotten before. Let you realize that God wants to bless. He wants to create those opportunities, but He can't do so unless you and I are simply willing to let go. Don't lose your life like that little monkey. Don't lose your life being held to something on a log just because it glitters and it looks appeasing to the eye. All you got to do is release it and let it go. God bless you all. Don't forget, be back with us Sunday morning in-house worship. 10 a.m., all right, right there in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Going to be there, see what God has in store for you and I. Those of you online that live such a distance you can't make it to the church, come on, be back online with us Sunday morning, and let's see what God has in store for you and I. Well, I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to go see what I can find in Cleveland. And you guys are welcome. Come on up, and we'll have a wonderful time together. God bless you all. Have a wonderful evening. God bless you.